Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be reading the first chapter of my novel of Songs and Saltwater. This is an adult fantasy romance. It is a loose, gender-swapped Little Mermaid retelling. So he is a male siren. She is a human woman. He's in love with her, gets a spell, gains legs, all that good stuff. Although there are lots of twists and turns that I will not be revealing right now. You'll have to read it for yourself. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? I had to get out. The air in my lungs rushed in and out as I fled through the cool pre-dawn air toward the docks. I had been up for hours, crying, pacing, raging in my room. Last night, Annette and I had argued like we never had before. I could still feel the sting of her slap. Why didn't she believe me? Why didn't she ever believe me? My own sister. She took the side of that wretched man. He'd said such awful things, but she wouldn't even hear of it. Annette didn't understand. No one did, not even my dear old maid, whom I loved with all my heart. I was alone in that castle with no one on my side. I was alone in the world. The salty sea air greeted me as I snuck to the end of the dock. The dinghy was easy to steal. No one was out yet. I remembered enough from my lessons to get it going. After untying it from the dock, I climbed aboard, the hull of the small boat sinking slightly under my weight. My heart raced as I unfurled the sails and pushed off. There were no chaperones with me today and no guards. It was just me and the open sea. I sailed across the water toward my freedom in the distance, if only for a day. Sailing from the harbor into the rising sun, I found my breath. The wind slipped through my hair like silk, bringing a smile to my face. It was a weight off my shoulders, being out on my beloved sea. The gentle rocking of the boat soothed me like a mother's lullaby. I'd loved it since I was young, the salty air in my lungs. Everything was blissful for 2 hours. And then I felt the first drop. I raised my eyes to find the beautiful blue sky swallowed up by dark clouds. They spread like a drop of roiling black ink. Terror gripped me as the soothing waves churned, creating angry mountains with the walls of wind that swept over the surface. Breaking from my terrified stupor, I forced myself to concentrate. Panic threatened to overwhelm me as I tried to recall my sailing lessons. I cursed myself for not being a better student as my hands fumbled with the ropes. Cold waves broke over the side of the boat, soaking my clothes. I struggled to maintain my footing along the slick wood of the hull. The water came again and again, mixing with the driving rain. My beloved sea was furious. Choking on another crashing wave, I pulled hard on the rope in the tiller. It was useless trying to steer. The boat was starting to break apart. I thought I did everything right. Bow into the flat spots. Sails reefed. My old guide's words echoed in my mind, but it was just a jumbled mess with my thoughts. Running over and over through my checklist was pointless. I couldn't remember half of it, or even what everything was called. The storm blew up out of nowhere. Clear blue sky, then sky dark as night, just like that. It was only my third time out by myself. I ditched my guards so no one would know where to look for me. I chastised myself again. This wasn't even my boat. And here I was, about to drown, another sailor at the bottom of the Aslian Sea. All I wanted was to feel the sun on my face and maybe a taste of freedom. Just a lick. I wanted the pride of knowing that I had done something and that I had done it myself. That's all I'd wanted when I came out today. Something, anything to free me from the choking confines of the blonde wood and stone castle. I wasn't just the Duke's daughter, fair Lady Marin. No, I was more than that. I had to be more than that. I peered behind me, hoping to see a shred of something familiar. I strained to see my castle overlooking the sea. There was nothing beyond the squall persistently trying to drown me. Now, it would seem, I would only be dead Lady Marin. Perhaps it was the roaring of the sea, but I swore I could hear a voice mixed in with the crashing thunder. It was deep and resonant, but definitely female. My heart skipped a beat. Maybe I could yell to her for help. As the seconds passed, I realized it was not a voice calling to me. No, it was rhythmic. The cadence rippled over like the waves of a poem. She was chanting. The sound mocked my terror with every word. Whoever she was, she commanded the storm with each utterance. Every inhale pulled the waves higher. Every exhale pushed the waves forward. Each wave crashed over my battered dinghy, splitting it apart. Each word was one with the storm. The power of the spell radiated through my chest. I struggled to make out the words against the roar of the waves. The words didn't matter now anyway. I gave up trying to steer, crouching down into a ball against the hull. Water rushed over me as a blinding flash lit up my vision. A great crack rang through my ears. Above me, a large mast fell. With barely time to scream, I instinctively leapt from the boat. The mast crashed down, splitting what remained of the boat into pieces. The icy, swirling water caught me. I flailed my arms and legs, but all control was lost to the power of the current. My body tossed over and under each wave. I grabbed fruitlessly, attempting to reach for large pieces of debris. I struggled to keep my head above water. Terror set in, but I wanted to live. Despite my hopes, death was upon me. My lungs struggled to fill with air. I knew I would not survive another wave. Just like that, my chance evaporated. An enormous tower of water rose above me. The chanting rose above the sound of the waves, filled with urgency. I didn't understand the words, but I knew the spell called for my death. The wave loomed over me, staring at me like an assassin, grinning at his target. I breathed a quick prayer to Scale, goddess of the sea, before the wave attacked. Instantly, I was crushed under the surface. My head exploded with pain as it collided with a piece of debris. Everything stopped. The world went black. Well, that's the first chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.